Back here on the Joey Jones Show on UTV 44. Who was named to the Senior Bowl watch list? Coach, you got it right away. It was Ramel Jones, Enrique Williams, both guys that are going to be tremendous as we head into this new season. Once again, we are at Mugshots Grill and Bar on Airport Boulevard. We'll be here every week for the Joey Jones Show. Also, thanks to Bailey's TV, who provided this right behind us. Certainly appreciate their support. Now, Southern Utah stands between us and win number one. And let's talk about the Thunderbirds. And here's what I know on paper. Okay, they're an FCS team, 1AA. I still call them 1AA. They were 5-6 last year, but they were in every single ball game they played.
They play in a very good conference. 3 out of the last 5 years, they have had a team represented in the national championship game. 3 out of the last 5 years, so they play good football there. I as a coach, watching them on film, understand how good they are, and we respect what they do. We respect that they're very, very well coached, and defensively, they're not going to give you anything. They're big, long guys on the defensive front and react well in the secondary, so they're going to be a task force tomorrow. And
what kind of scheme are we looking at? Do they blitz a lot? Do they 4-down linemen?
Yeah, they're kind of a 4-down team. They do run some 3-down, but they're not a big blitz team, although they will bring the blitz, especially when you get down in the red zone. But what they try to do is keep everything in front of them, make sure that you have to earn your touchdowns.
So offensively, how do we attack this defense?
Well, we got to execute, like I mentioned earlier today. We've got to be able to take what they give us. I know all offensive coaches say that, but we got to be smart about what we're doing. The biggest thing that we've done a great job with this summer, we hadn't turned the ball over,
right.
And that's changed from last year. We put a 12-minute anti-turnover drill in our practice that's really helped us. So we just don't need to turn the ball over and be smart about what we're doing.
We're going to have 2 quarterbacks likely that will rotate in and out, but running backs, we're pretty strong running backs, pretty strong wide receivers as well, right?
Yeah, at running back, we've got more depth for sure. Jay Jones has come in, Cristobal Denham's come in to add to the running backs we already have. Kendall Houston's had a great camp, and Julian Valentine and Terrence Timmons, all those guys have really had good camps, and so that's a good thing. You want to play guys, keep them fresh. They all have their different characteristics, but we feel like they can play. Receiver-wise, Danny Woodson has come in, is going to really help us, and Shavar Smith is doing a great job. In addition to the Bryant Lavenders, Corey Walters, Corey Bastidas,
right.
Jeremy Joneses, and Wes Saxton, and all those guys. We got some depth at receiver as well.
It's going to be odd not to see Trey Clark at center this year, but otherwise the line's intact. We've got a pretty good center right there now.
We do. Matt Calcanini is doing a great job. He's 290 pounds and a very tough kid, and he understands the offense and understands our blocking schemes to get us in the right calls.
And he can substitute in Duck Dynasty as well with that beard. Have you seen that?
That's right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I know I've seen a couple commercials.
He said the chin straps fits fine. That's what he said. So we'll have him on a player profile a little later in the year. But let's talk about the player profile now. We're talking about a guy defensively who will be counted on big time in that secondary. It's Charles Watson, a senior from Tylertown, Mississippi, and he is the subject of our player profile.
Really the main thing on an island, you just gotta have confidence out there. You got confidence and you can do anything. Honestly, track, all you had to do was run. I was good at that. So I ran track my senior year. It's the only year I ran it, and he told me that he haven't seen a guy like me in 25 years. And I did everything at track too, shot put, long jump, hurdles, 4x1, 2x1, everything.
Did you ever think, maybe I should do this in college? Why football?
Honestly, by the time I had a chance, I already signed my scholarship to play football, so that's how it works. Some days it's like, but other days, somebody always got your back. Whenever you need something, you got it. Even the littlest things, you can always just, hey, I need you to do this for me. It might be, I don't know, but we're family. We all love each other, so we all stick together. It's another piece to the link. So I'm a competitor. You ask anybody, they say Charles Watson's a competitor. That's what he does. If I play the game, I'm gonna be a champion at it. I'm gonna play like a champion.
And the Joey Jones Show rolls on from Mugshots Grill and Bar on Airport Boulevard. So glad they are with us here this year on UTV 44. And let's spend a little time talking about the offense for Southern Utah, because they score a lot of points like a lot of these FCS teams. They can put points on the board, and they can do it in a hurry, can't they?
They can. Of course, they have a few different players than they did last year. But last year they had a great quarterback who is still in the NFL camp right now. But they got a junior college guy come in and is doing a great job. They feel great about him. Watched his films, and he's very talented. They threw the ball a good bit last year. Threw for 3,100 yards and rushed for about 1,000 yards, and so they were more of a throw team. But from what we're hearing, they might want to run the ball a little bit more. We'll never know till we get out there on the field and make adjustments as the game goes.
And you would think that we're looking at a big size advantage because we're going up against an FCS team, but that's really not the case. They got some big linemen specifically, don't they?
They got some really big linemen. They've done a good job recruiting tall guys with long arms, and they do a heck of a job. And 4 out of the 5 of their offensive linemen are seniors right now. And
you mentioned that JUCO quarterback that's coming in. I think he led the nation in passing, or in terms of JUCO ranks, in terms of yards, in terms of touchdowns. So this guy can play.
He can play.
No doubt.
They got a good one, and they understand what they're doing too.
Absolutely. One of the men responsible for stopping that Thunderbird offense is new defensive coordinator Kevin Shearer. Glad you're with us here, Coach. Appreciate the time. All right, so you were at Hoover.
Yes.
They're pretty good. You were at Alabama. They're pretty good.
Sure.
You got some pretty good credentials coming in. How does that help as you take over this defensive coordinator spot?
Well, just kind of the experience that you have, kind of being around those type programs, and, you can carry some of the organizational stuff and motivation and things like that, just to, kind of build off what Coach and them have already done.
When this position came open, what was it that made you say, you know what, South Alabama is going to be a great spot for me?
Well, knowing Coach Jones, a lot of coaches that are there on staff now, a lot of them are friends of mine. And then coming down and seeing the campus and a lot of things that have been done in the program so far, really sold me on it. And, it's like a lot of players that we have come on campus, they don't realize what we have. So just really sold me into the program as well.
And we're looking at the defense that we had last year on the field, and you got some talent that came back for sure. Adding some new guys. Defensively, how different are we from last year, or is there a lot of similarity?
There will be some similarities, but as an overall, it'll be very different. Some of the schemes and coverages and pressures and things like that we do, and we'll probably run more multiple packages and try to, match personnel with the offense and, things like that.
Where do you think we're deepest? Because I know that's one thing that's been, that as we build this program, we're seeing deeper and deeper positions.
So, probably deepest right now in the defensive tackle position and linebacker. We've got a lot of experienced guys there with, Enrique Williams and Bryson James, Cliff Cruz, Malik Harris, Ramel Jones. I mean, kind of go on and on, but that's probably the deepest position on the defensive side of the ball.
What about the secondary? I know you coach defensive backs as well.
Sure.
How has that unit progressed this offseason?
They've really progressed really, really good. We've had several guys that came in this fall camp, some in that are freshmen, some that are junior college guys. They've really caught on really good, and we're not really just real simple, but they've done a really, really good job of it. So it's allowed us to have the depth that we haven't had, here in the past.
And Coach, when that defensive coordinator spot came open, what was it about Coach Shearer that made you say, I got to have this guy on staff?
Well, first of all, knowing what knew what kind of person he was, and he's a very organized guy, and he's even more organized now than what I had known from before. Heard a lot of good things about that part of it. And number two, the guys play hard for him, and they really like playing for him. And that's as big a part as anything. You want guys that play for you and play hard, and that's what defense is kind of all about anyway. And so those two things were the things that stuck out in my mind.
All right, and when you look at the personnel that you're working with, talk about the attitude of these players, because they're hungry. They know, they took some lumps last year, yet hung in every ball game, and now they're ready to get some W's up on the board.
That's the one thing that I've been really impressed with is the hunger of these players. I mean, they want to be good. They want to win. They obviously won the first few years, and moving up last year is always that transitional year, but it's probably really the first group of guys, I guess, that they've had since Coach has been here that are true seniors. They've been here and kind of started the program, and those guys have really taken on a huge leadership role and trying to build that, and then a lot of them want to leave their legacy So when they come back, you know, they can be proud of what they helped build here.
You got Southern Utah on the field tomorrow night. What have you been able to see from tape? We always know that first game,
Sure.
you never know.
Yeah,
It could be something wholly different. But what do you see when you look at them?
You know, very, very well coached, you know, really good offensive scheme. Like Coach talked about earlier, they had a really good quarterback last year. They brought in a highly touted junior college quarterback that's really good. Replaced a couple running backs, but obviously, you know, the talent that they have is comparable to what we play against week in and week out. And you know, the teams that they play against out there in the conference that they're in, it's really good football. So it's going to be a big challenge for us. Again, you know, there's that element of the unknown, and the guys they've lost, who they're going to replace them with, and you know, that's just going to be our biggest challenge is, you know, adjusting during the game.
So how do you do that, though? Because you do prepare, you know, that first game. I know you look at tape of everybody from game 1 to game 11, but how difficult is it when you have so much time for that first opponent? You almost overstudy sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes you do. You almost kind of have to say, look, you know, we're just, sometimes you present it to them on film, sometimes in the practice, you know, plan and in different ways just so they're aware of it, and you talk about what you're going to do. And then they have to understand that, look, when you come off to the sideline, you're going to have to communicate with us, and we're going to have to communicate with you. Okay, here's what we're going to do. So you try to give them as many options as you probably can during the week, but not too much, you know, to think about. So.
And now finally it ends tomorrow night. So how excited are you guys to run out on the field, Ladd Peoples Stadium, and play a football game against somebody other than your own guys?
You know, I know I am. I'm excited because I'm tired of seeing the offensive guys over there. But I know our players are today. At, you know, our walkthrough, you could just see it in their eyes. I mean, they're really ready to play, and I'm ready to see us play both sides of the ball because we've had a really good camp.
So are you impressed with our offense?
Oh yeah. We've got some really good players, 2 really good quarterbacks, you know, several good running backs, receivers, O-line's good. I mean, it looks like they're supposed to look.
Good stuff. Well, Coach, we appreciate the time. Glad to have you aboard, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Now, of course, we are bowl eligible, conference championship eligible this year. So when we're going to talk about the trip around the Sun Belt Conference, that's coming up next. Who are the big dogs? Who's predicted to win the Sun Belt Conference? And we'll talk about some of the big games that are coming up in the Sun Belt Conference this weekend as well. That's when we come back on the Joey Jones Show here on UTV 44.